गीता परिवार हमारा। ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा, भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता
न्यारा ज्ञान और विज्ञान यहीं से सबने पाया सारा, सबने पाया सारा। कुछ धूलों से हारा फिर से जीते देश हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता
त्यागशील सेवा व्रतधारी युवा जगे पुरुषार्थी,
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
त्यागशील सेवा व्रतधारी युवा जगे पुरुषार्थी, वैज्ञानिकता विनय सभ्यता स्वभाव हो निस्वार्थी, स्वभाव हो निस्वार्थी। देशभक्ति में तेजस्वी हो फिर समाज यह सारा, गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता
गोविंद शिवाजी बुद्ध गगन के तारे,
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
महावीर गोविंद शिवाजी बुद्ध गगन के तारे, परंपरा की पुण्य चेतना उर में हम सब धारे, उर में हम सब धारे। बाल हृदय में उसे जगाकर जगे देश यह सारा, गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता
दुर्बलता को राष्ट्र समर्थ बनाओ,
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
त्यागो सारी दुर्बलता को राष्ट्र समर्थ बनाओ, बंधु भाव समता ममता से सबको गले लगाओ, सबको गले लगाओ। चलो विवेकानंद मार्ग पर शुभ संदेश हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा। ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा। भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, 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 गीता परिवार हमारा।
अदरं मधुरं वदनं मधुरं नयनं मधुरं हसितं मधुरं हृदयं मधुरं गमनं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
वचनं मधुरं चरितं मधुरं वसनं मधुरं वलितं मधुरं चलितं मधुरं भ्रमितं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
वेणुर्मधुरो रेणुर्मधुरः पाणिर्मधुरः पादौ मधुरौ नृत्यं मधुरं सख्यं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गीतं मधुरं पीतं मधुरं भुक्तं मधुरं सुप्तं मधुरं रूपं मधुरं तिलकं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
तरणं मधुरं तरणं मधुरं हरणं मधुरं स्मरणं मधुरं वमितं मधुरं शमितं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
कुञ्जा मधुरा माला मधुरा यमुना मधुरा वीथी मधुरा सलिलं मधुरं कमलं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
मधुरा लीला मधुरा युक्तं मधुरं मुक्तं मधुरं दृष्टं मधुरं शिष्टं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गोपा मधुरा गावो मधुरा यष्टिर्मधुरा सृष्टिर्मधुरा दलितं मधुरं फलितं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
सद्गुणों की साधना में ध्येय ज्योति नित जले। सद्गुणों की साधना में ध्येय ज्योति नित जले। संग्राममय जीवन धरा पर विजय रथ ले हम चले। सद्गुणों की साधना में ध्येय ज्योति नित जले। समर्पण लखन जैसा राम जैसा त्याग हो। भीष्म सा हो नियम पालन शौर्य में अभिमन्यु हो। आपदाओं को कुचल कर वीर बालक हम चले। सद्गुणों की साधना में ध्येय ज्योति नित जले। बुद्ध जैसे कारुणिक हो धीर हम महावीर से। ध्रुव जैसे निश्चयी सत्याग्रही प्रहलाद से। दुर्दम्य सारे संकटों में अग्निपथ पर भी खिले। सद्गुणों की साधना में ध्येय ज्योति नित जले।
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मनु मुकुरु सुधारी। बरनउ रघुबर विमल जसु जो दायकु फलचारी। बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार। बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर। रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा। महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी। कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा। हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूज जनेऊ साजे। शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन। विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर। प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया। सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा। भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज संवारे। लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुबीर हरषि उर लाए। रघुपति कीनी बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरतई सम भाई। सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे। सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाँ ते कभी को विद कही सके कहाँ ते तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर है सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लील्योता ही मधुर फल जानू प्रभु मुद्रिका मेली मुख माही जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हारे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज संहारो आपे तीनों लोक हाँकते कांपे भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे नासे रोग हरे सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे चारों जुग पर ताप तुम्हारा है पर सिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता असवर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे अंत काल रघुबर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्त न धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा पवन तनय संकट हरना मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुर भूप सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय।
सच्चिदानन्दं वासुदेवं व्रजप्रियं धर्मसंस्थापकं वीरं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं।
Jai Shri Krishna. With humble salutations at the lotus feet of Param Pujya Swami Shri Govindadev Giriji Maharaj, and with heartfelt respects to all our revered dignitaries, respected elders, and the dear members of Geeta Pariwar, a very warm welcome to everyone to today's interpretation session of second chapter Sankhya Yoga's last part. I, Shravani Naik, representing Geeta Pariwar today, and also it's my honor to serve as your anchor for today's interpretation session. To begin this auspicious session, let us invoke the blessings of Lord Krishna through a prayer. For the same, I would like to request Parul Desai ji. Parul ji is from Baroda, Gujarat, and is a homemaker. In Geeta Pariwar, she serves as a co-trainer and is with Geeta Pariwar since February 2023. Parul ji.
जय श्री कृष्ण। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। जय श्री कृष्ण।
Beautiful and melodious. Thank you so much, Parul Didi. Every noble India word begins with light, a symbol of knowledge and divinity. To mark this auspicious start of today's session, I now invite Anjali Parashar ji to perform Deepa Prajwalan, the lightning of the sacred lamp. Anjali ji is from Jagannath Puri, Orissa. In Geeta Pariwar, she serves as a technical assistant and group coordinator, that is GC, and is with Geeta Pariwar since 2023. Anjali ji.
निषिद्धैरप्येभिर्लुलितमकरन्दो मधुकरैः करैरिन्दोरन्तश्छुरित इव सम्भिन्नमुकुलः विधत्तां सिद्धिन्नो नयनसुभगामस्य सदसः प्रकीर्णः पुष्पाणां हरिचरणयोरञ्जलिरयम् शरदिन्दुनिभां शुभ्रवस्त्रैरलङ्कृतां कलहंसकृतावासां वरदां शारदां नुमः।
Thank you so much, Anjali ji. We not only got the blessings of Krishna, but also of Lord Jagannath. Thank you so much, Didi. Now we'll move on to the main part of today's session, and it's my privilege to introduce Vikas ji, Vikas Bhaiya, a mechanical engineer with a postgraduate diploma in business management. He has lived abroad for over 12 years and now runs his own IT company in Pune, Maharashtra. He is fluent in many languages, including Hindi, Marathi, English, Indonesian, Malaysian, and Spanish. Alongside professional experience, his spiritual dedication is very inspiring. Even he is my personal idol, reciting all 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita daily for the past 5 years, serving as a trainer for all the levels, level 1 to level 4 in Geeta Pariwar, and guiding Geeta Vratis for Shrīngeri Peeth exam. His devotion was recognized when he first received prize in the Geeta Kanthastikaran exam at Shrīngeri Peeth from Jagadguru Shankaracharya ji himself. So, now, without making you all wait more, with great joy, I invite Vikas Bhaiya to enlighten us. Vikas Bhaiya.
वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं जय श्री कृष्ण ऑल। पूज्य स्वामी जी के चरण कमलों में कोटि कोटि नमन। We are discussing अध्याय सेकंड, that is सांख्य योग. Today we will conclude this अध्याय and we'll take a quick review as to what we have really learnt in this adhyay. That we'll do at the end. Now, last time we concluded with shlok number 60. Yatato yhabhikanteya purushasya vipashchitah indriyani pramadhini haranti prasabham manah. So that rust that remains in you, in your deep subconscious, that can drag you. That is the warning God has given. Now, continue with slok 61. तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसीत मत्परः वशे हि यस्येन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. Paramatma says, focusing the mind on me, matparaha, focusing your mind on me after controlling the senses. That means first do the Indriya Nigraha, control the senses, and then focus your mind on me. Then the devotee, the seeker, that means the karma yogi in this case, should worship me, because without subjugating senses, mind control is not possible. So this is an important teaching for us. Now that person is of unshakable wisdom and security, who has subdued the senses and become completely absorbed in the Lord of Love. Lord of Love is Lord Sri Krishna. The subjugation, the control of Indriya, subjugation of senses is extremely difficult. If we keep telling ourselves, I must subdue my senses, I must subdue my senses, मुझे इंद्रिय निग्रह करना ही पड़ेगा, करना ही चाहिए, this will not help. The path followed by many jnana yogis is the path of neti neti. You might have heard these words, neti neti. Not this, not this. Neti neti. This is in Upanishads. Neti neti. You are told you are not the body. You are told you are not the senses. You are told you are not the mind. And you are not the intellect. You are not the ego. Yogis have attained self-realization on meditating and following this mantra of neti neti. Can we follow this? Can we do meditation one day on this neti neti only? See, the actual practice of neti neti is based on the quite broad premise of simply taking any thought. How to start the process of neti neti? Take any thought or any object that mind can conceive, and after that is there in your mind, keep telling yourself neti neti, neti neti. That object is not supreme reality. Whatever object comes in your mind, that object is not supreme reality. The object could be, to start with, your car or your job title or your even cat or dog, anything. Anything that comes to your mind, keep on saying neti neti, neti neti. Ultimately, it drives you to the ultimate truth that you are Parabrahma, nothing else but Parabrahma. So, one of the practical beauties of Bhagavad Gita is that it is not negative in its presentation. The Gita approach which we should try to follow is expressed in these words in this shloka. Yukta asita matparaha. Yukta asita matparaha. The Lord is in me and I ask Him, reveal yourself to me. Unite me to yourself. Make me the dust of your lotus feet. आपके चरण का धूल मुझे कर दो. This is the positive approach. Let us follow the positive way of asking the Lord to reveal Himself in us in the depths of our subconsciousness and love Him through His existence. His existence is there everywhere, as we know. But we should start experiencing this. We should start telling our mind, we should start training our mind on this, that Lord is there everywhere. Whether it is your parents, your partner, your children, your friends, this thought has to come. This discipline of adding to the joy of those around you, because you see God in them, itself becomes the force, the power of senses. It helps you in Indriya Nigraha. As our mind gets surrendered to the Lord, Matparaha, we become Matparaha. Everywhere we start saying the Lord, we become Matparaha. But before we start this process, Sri Krishna has already warned us, Shridavya Pratipannate yada sasya nishala samadhavachala buddhis tada yogamam apsasi. We have heard, read many things contradictory. So confusion is a permanent state of our mind. We have to remove that. Half knowledge, contradicting thoughts, these are to be removed from the mind first. Mind should be emptied of all kamanas and half knowledge. Half knowledge about attaining Paramatma. Somebody says do this, somebody says do that, and you are getting confused. If all confusion are removed, then only we can realize the God. What is the first condition of complete transformation from a normal person to become a strong devotee of Paramatma? Empty your mind of all kamanas and all half knowledge. Whatever you have heard, empty your mind of that. A small story to tell this principle in details. Once upon a time, there was a young man. He was looking for some maestro with desire to master the music. He wanted to have some trainer, teacher who can teach him the music. He came across a great music teacher. He said to him, "You are a great teacher of music and I have keen interest in mastering the music. Actually, music is life for me. I can't live without music. So I request you to please teach me the music." The music teacher said, "When you have such a strong desire to learn music from me, then I will definitely teach you." Now this young man asked him the next question to that maestro, "What will I do in return when you teach me the music?" The teacher said, "Not much. You have to pay me 1,000 rupees per month." 1,000 rupees. 1,000 rupees? That man was surprised. He said, 1,000 rupees? That is too much. And you know, I already know some music. I'm not a novice in this. I already know some music. But okay, I agree. I will give you 1,000 rupees. On this, the teacher replied, "If you already have some little knowledge of music, then you will have to pay me 2,000 rupees per month." 2,000 rupees per month. From 1,000, he increased his fee to 2,000 rupees per month. That young man was shocked. He asked in astonishment, "Why 2,000 rupees? Master, that is so strange, perhaps beyond my comprehension. The price increases with lesser work. I have never heard this." The teacher replied, "How do you say that the work is less? First of all, I will have to make you forget, that is, unlearn what you have already learned. Then I will start afresh teaching you the new things. To learn something new, something useful, something important, first of all, it is necessary to empty your mind, to clear it. Otherwise, it will not be able to absorb the new knowledge. This is especially important for the development of creativity and for self-realization. Because you can imagine, if the container is already full with whatever half knowledge, can it take some more thing? Container is already full. So you have to empty the container first, isn't it? And that is a tedious job. We experience this in Gita Pariwar also. When you start teaching the pronunciation, some people have some knowledge of reading shlokas, and that pronunciation is fit in their mouth. To try to tell them this is not right, that is right, but invariably they keep on saying the wrong things. So you have to keep your patience and keep on telling them that this is not the right. Undo what you have learned early. Unlearn what you have learned and then absorb this. It's a tough job. A new sadhak, he learns the pronunciation quickly. But one who has already some knowledge of it, he finds it very difficult to forget what he has already learned and then learn something which is right. So it is better to have no knowledge than to have incomplete, half-baked knowledge. Half knowledge is very dangerous. To learn, it is always necessary to be empty. So this is the lesson that we learn from this shloka also. Next two shlokas are extremely important. These are the shlokas which I would say they teach you how the downfall of a person starts in his life. Paramatma is showing a lantern of warning to us through these two shlokas. Great shlokas, these two. 62. ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः सङ्गस्ते येषूपजायते सङ्गात् संजायते कामः कामात् क्रोधो विजायते. And 63. क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. Both these shlokas are related, so that's why we should discuss these shlokas together. God says, when a striver devotes himself heart and soul to the God, his senses are controlled and his relish, that means his rest taste for the sense enjoyment, disappears. This we have learned. But what about those who do not devote themselves to the God? That God is explained in these two shlokas. Those who do not devote themselves to the God, what happens to them? God says, Shri Krishna says, contemplating constantly on the objects of senses. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Sagandha. Eyes are after Rupa, ears are after Shabda. So constantly keeping your senses engaged in pursuing the sense objects, a man develops attachment for them. And from attachment springs the desire. And desire, unfulfilled desire, it originates the anger. Kamat krodho vijayate. From anger arises delusion. From delusion, confusion of memory, and which grows to the loss of reasoning. And with loss of reasoning, that means the viveka buddhi, discrimination, he goes to complete ruin. Buddhi nashat pranashyati. Now this is the sequence of events that happens in case of a person who does not follow God, who does not believe in God. Contemplation upon sensory objects leads to development of attachment for those objects, which in turn leads to obtaining those objects. You have seen something, you have liked it, you want to have it, come what may. And if you do not attain it, and if your desire is not fulfilled, then it leads to rising anger. It entails that desire is the reason why anger arises. If there is no desire, there is no question of anger. The one who does not have any desire, why will he ever get angry? And the one who does not have any attachment to his mind, why will he have any desire? And the one who does not contemplate upon objects of sensory gratification, why will he have any attachment? Interesting sequence this is. So we have to analyze it this way. Now see for ourselves, what events lead to the rising of anger in us? You will find that every time you get angry, the underlying cause is the non-fulfillment of your desires and your expectations. My relatives are not courteous to me. My neighbor did not even ask me for a cup of tea. My son does not accord me the due respect which I deserve. My boss did not give me the promotion or the increment which I deserve. The food was not worth the money I paid in that restaurant. This goes on and on. We can see it every day. All such incidents lead to anger. Why? Because of the underlying desire for something or the other which does not get fulfilled. The anger comes. But is it not our foolishness that you harbor your such desires? I am older, so you should touch my feet. My grandfather, no, so you should touch my feet. I am your father, touch my feet. I am the head of family, so my children can't do anything without my approval. What has anyone else got to do with your desires and your expectations? You are expecting. Why they have to follow your expectations? Such foolish expectations reflect our foolish thinking only. You think you are great, worthy of respect. That is why you are not really worthy of respect. If you think you are great, then you are not great. You become great when others see you that way, not you. Others should see you that way. Then only you can become great. And then they will accord the respect to you without you even asking for it, isn't it? You cannot demand respect. It is up to others if they want to accord it to you or not. This is a strange but very common disease afflicting all of us. The desire to be respected, to be held in high esteem by one and all. You want everyone to seek your approval, to get your consent, and when they don't, you get upset and you get angry. Let us learn this mantra today. Do not expect any respect. Then Krodh will not come. Do not expect any respect. Then no one can ever disrespect you because you are not expecting respect itself. No one can disrespect you then. So watch your mind. Know the root cause of all angers is unfulfillment of desires, which in turn arise due to the attachment to the sense objects. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Sagandha. And this attachment develops because of your strong, continuous, obsessive contemplation of the sense objects. Is there anything else to contemplate upon? Why should we keep contemplating on something which is going to put us in that bondage? Is there anything else that we can contemplate upon? See, our mind is only one, isn't it? We don't have two minds. We have only one mind. And either the mind focuses on sensory world or it focuses on the divine thoughts. So it is up to you to make the choice whether you want to apply your mind on thinking of sensory world, material world, or you want to apply your mind in thinking about the spiritual world. Choice is yours. 63 shloka, we read that Paramatma had said, Krudhat bhavati sammoha sammoha svati brahma svati brahmshat buddhinasho buddhinashat pranashyati. From anger arises delusion. From delusion arises confusion of memory, from which grows loss of reasoning, and loss of reasoning, that is the sense of discrimination, viveka buddhi, he goes to complete ruin. Buddhi nashat pranashyati. Satyanash. See, anger hypnotizes. It stupefies the intellect. The hypnotist can cast such a spell on his subject's mind. Those who have seen the hypnotist programs, they will realize this. That the hypnotist can cast such a spell on his subject's mind that he can make him believe anything he wants. For example, an apple on the hand under the spell of hypnotist instructions will appear as if it is a lump of smoldering hot coal. And the person holding it may even get blisters on his palm. That is the magic of hypnotism. Hypnotism reveals the inherent power of human mind. Hypnotism proves that the mind is so powerful that it can produce changes in the body as desired, for better or for worse. If a sick man believes that he will never get better, then no matter how far you go to treat him, he will simply not improve. Because that is what his mind has believed. Similarly, in spite of having parents, siblings, wife, children, if a person believes that he has no one of his own, we see many people like that, no? Then no one, he thinks that no one loves him, then he can go into deep depression on this single thought, to such a degree that he can even commit suicide. Mera koi nahi hai duniya mein. He has everybody. Thus the power of mind is indeed immense. Power of mind is immense. The Lord is saying that the anger deludes the mind, hypnotizes the intellect, and further leads to muddling of all memorized knowledge. All the knowledge that you have acquired earlier simply vanishes from your memory. All the knowledge goes out of window. All that knowledge evaporates in the fire of anger. This is because the knowledge was never a part of your experience. You read it, you heard it. It was not a part of your experience, that knowledge. It was just that you have heard or intellectually gathered it from some source. So when intellect gets deluded and clouded by anger, all that knowledge vanishes in thin air. And once the memory of that assimilated knowledge is also gone, then that is the final nail in the coffin box, proverbially, as far as the intellect is concerned. So it gets completely destroyed. Intellect gets completely destroyed with this last nail in the coffin box. And the one whose intellect is shattered, he falls down from sadhana of spiritual path. That goes without saying. What this also means is that this entire sequence of events from Dhyato Vishan Pusa Sangaste Shupajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kamak Kamat Kurdu Vijayate Krudhat Bhaut Sammoha Sammoha Svati Brahma Svati Brahmshat Buddhinasho Buddhinashat Pranashyati. This entire sequence told by Shri Krishna in these two shlokas, from contemplation of sense objects to the ultimately falling down from the spiritual path, can and does happen in case of all spiritual aspirants. So we have to guard ourselves. Dhyato Vishan Pusa. As soon as the thought comes, kill it then and there only. Because then the further train that goes, you cannot stop the train. When you are sitting in that train of Dhyato Vishan Pusa, then Buddhinashat Pranashiti is the last station of your journey. So don't board the train here only, Dhyato Vishan Pusa. This never board that train. This happens to spiritual seekers as well. And it is not an affliction limited only to the worldly beings. That is why be watchful of your mind. What is going on in my mind? If a thought comes, check whether this thought is going to take me near to the God or away from Him. Be watchful of every thought that comes to your mind. Unfortunately, we keep observing others, we don't observe our own mind. उसने ऐसा बोला, उसने ऐसा बोला. अरे भाई तुम क्या बोल रहे हो? तुम्हारा what is going on in your mind? Are you guarding your own mind? Guarding others' mind, they will do. It's not your job. Your job is to guard your own mind. What thoughts are going on in your mind? Are they going to help you? But we have a great ego. We think that whatever I think, that is the only way I should function, I should behave. The moment you catch it contemplating on sensory objects, stop it immediately. That is the message from these two shlokas. Because as I said, Dhyato Vishan Pusa is the starting point. Or else it will lead to inevitable cascade of attachments, desire, anger, clouding of intellect, loss of all accumulated knowledge, destruction of intellect, and falling down ultimately from the path of spirituality. So these are the stations. If you board in that train, in that bogie of Dhyato Vishan Pusa, then the last station will be Buddhinashat Pranashati. So it is in our hands not to board that train. As soon as the thought comes about any desire, kill it then and there only. Paramatma had said this in earlier shloka also. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parth manogatan. Manoagatan, as soon as the kama enters your mind, kill it. Prajahati. Paramatma is going to step further. Jahati means to kill, to remove. Prajahati, remove it from the root, so that it does not happen again. So this was Dhyato Vishan Pusa Sangaste Shupajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kama Kamat Krodho Vijayate. These two shlokas are very, very important. Continue the discussion further. Shlok number 64. Ragadvesha viyuktaistu vishaya anindriyaischaran atmavasyair videyatma prasadamadi. Now, an accomplished yogi, above attachments and aversions, ragadvesh, above all this, who has experienced the self, who has experienced the soul, remains unaffected and poised in peace even while using various sense objects. This is the word-to-word meaning of this shloka. To go beyond suffering, to live in the full confidence that our life is meant for the service of others, and the Lord has given us ample resources to perform this service. Whatever the obstacles, we must shed all likes and dislikes. That is the first condition. We cannot afford to say, I like this, I dislike that. I like him, I don't like her. Our nervous system is meant for a two-way traffic. It should be able to move towards the pain if necessary, as well as towards the pleasure. Now, most of us, our nervous system will flow only in one direction, towards what we like. We don't want to go in the direction which we don't like. Ordinary people like us, when we are having lunch or dinner, for example, we are deeply engrossed in the taste of the food that we are eating. But a person sitting next to us, if he is a Sita Prajna, he is also having lunch dinner with us. But his attitude is to nourish the body. Taste is secondary for him. We eat what taste hits our taste buds. He eats without complaining, without anything. He eats whatever is served to him. Guru Govilkar, the RSS chief, he once visited a slum area with his Swayam Sevaks, his workers. The people were very happy to welcome Guru Govilkar. One person insisted that all should have tea at my place, in my slum. Guruji agreed. Okay, we'll all have tea in your place. When the tea was served, it was having a very foul smell of kerosene. Remember in old days, those kerosene stoves used to be used, and many a times the food cooked on that used to have kerosene smell. I have experienced it in my childhood. Guruji was happily tasting the tea with that kerosene smell. But his workers somehow managed to finish it with lot of bad expressions on their face. क्या चाय बनाया ये कुछ तो ही. On coming out from that area, they asked Guruji, how did you smilingly take that tea? You are smiling and taking that kerosene wala tea. We found it very difficult to finish it. But you are enjoying it. Looks like you are smiling and enjoying and taking the sip after sip of that tea. Guruji replied, I did not enjoy the tea. I enjoyed the love with which they served us that tea. So Sthitaprajna people, they don't fall in some taste of food or any such thing. They see the feeling behind it. An ordinary person interested in sense objects only. He becomes happy when the tongue likes the taste, and he gets angry when the tongue dislikes the taste, isn't it? But Sthitaprajna is happy irrespective of the taste. His happiness is not dependent on the sense objects. His happiness is here, inside. Sense objects are outside. He has found his happiness within himself. So that is Sthitaprajna. Shri Krishna says, an Atmavan, that means the one who has got the knowledge of Atma, Swata, of self, the knower of self, he cannot be affected by the senses even when he is not shunning the sense objects, as he very well can handle the traffic in both the directions. It does not, as Sthitaprajna does not see what is happening around him. He also sees like us. But he allows the traffic to go in both the directions, pleasure and pain, both. He, the knower of self, has no use of sense objects for his satisfaction because he has already tested the wondrous touch of the soul effect. And he knows that bliss is not in the sense objects, but it is in the soul, which the yogi has realized and locked in his heart. Once you lock that enjoyment in your heart of your Atma Jnana, then sensory objects, pleasure and pain arising out of that. See, when a sense meets the sense objects, either it will make you happy or make you unhappy. But the enjoyment that is permanently locked up in your mind by the yogis, they don't get affected by such meeting of sense and sense objects. That is Sthitaprajna. Shri Krishna says, the one whose mind is free of attachments and aversion, ragadvesh, his senses automatically come within his control. He automatically achieves the Indriya Nigraha, control of senses, subjugating of senses. Then he does not have to forcibly suppress them. In our case, we have to suppress. Nahi karna hai, nahi karna hai. He does not have to suppress. It happens automatically. There is a sect in India, followers of Gorakhnath, who traditionally follow some certain procedures in the belief that they will be able to suppress their senses by doing so. For example, Guru Gorakhnath had the knowledge of certain nerves present in the ear lobes here, which it appears could prevent arising of sexual thoughts in the mind. Followers of this sect of Gorakhnath, they often, you see them wearing a huge earring in their ear because they pierce through that so that the sexual desires do not come to their mind, their brain. See what they say, your brain, your mind is the real organ of sex and not the genitals. True also. There are herbs which, when put on the tongue, numb all the taste buds, and some herbs induce the sleep also. We know that. But the Lord says, these are all external things. Without taking such drugs, you have to control your mind. Don't have to pierce your ear to stop your sexual desires. Shri Krishna says that the one who has control over his antakaran, whose mind is free of all attachment and aversions, even if such a person carries out all sensory activities. Khana wo bhi khata hai, hum bhi khate hain. He sees, we also see. He does all the sensory activities as we do. But he always remains in the inner state of sheer bliss. Once you experience the sheer bliss in you, all 24/7 you are in that sheer bliss only. Whatever externally you do, even while leading a worldly life, he remains a yogi. In the heart, he remains a yogi. So on one hand, you have the one who forcibly suppresses his senses, isn't it? He forcibly suppresses his senses to attain that indriya nigraha, sense control, and in turn deludes and clouds his intellect. And on the other hand, you have this person, this yogi, who has freed his mind of all attachments and aversions and who has realized self, and then hence despite leading a worldly life, he lives in total bliss. One person is forcefully controlling his senses. This fellow says, okay, come what may, eyes are seeing, let them see. He is not bothered because he has already enjoyed that supreme bliss within himself. So the external things don't affect him at all. See what an irony it is. The ignorant renunciate all, still holds on to the world in his mind. Externally, he wants to show that I have renunciated everything. Sannyas, I have not done any, I don't want to do anything. But mentally he is doing that. And hence the bliss deludes him. Whereas this realized person, the realized yogi, one enjoys the unceasing bliss despite living in the world. You have to run away from the world to search for that bliss. This person is living in the world, having that supreme bliss in himself, and he is living in the world. He is not running away to Himalaya. So this is another important lesson to us. Okay, next sloka 65. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasya prasanna chetaso yashu buddhih paryavatishthate. Spiritual bliss destroys all sorrows and makes the heart pure and happy. The intellect of a man, after withdrawing from world, gets soon established in samatha, equanimity. See, the folly of treating sense objects as the source of happiness is due to our karma bandhan. Past karmas have put us under bondage, and then that thought has gone deep in our subconscious that sense objects is a source of happiness. Sense objects externalize the mind, and this pursuit eludes the happiness. Internalization of mind and senses is the only remedy. Instead of applying your mind and senses in the external world, try to look within you. External and verbal knowledge is not so much consequence, is often not so much of consequence, because that does not take away the mind from body consciousness. We may compare the central idea of slok number 62, 63 and 64 and 65 now. Dhyata Vishan Pusa, right from that. In the former, in the earlier sloka 62, 63, the God cautions us that every thought of sense objects, Dhyata Vishan Pusa, can corrupt the seeker. The Karma Yogi, he is in the process of becoming Karma Yogi, his mind may get corrupt. And in the latter, that means in slok 64 and 65, God says that even enjoying sense objects do not affect the Karma Yogi. Isn't it? So these four slokas, if you read one after the other, you enjoy it. On one side, Paramahansa says, Dhyata Vishan Pusa Sangastheshu Vijayate, and on the second side, he says, Yogi does everything. I have said you Dhyata Vishan Pusa everything, but Yogi does everything, but still he does not get affected. Sense objects do not affect the Karma Yogi, because an accomplished Karma Yogi has full control over his antakaran. If we think of others before we think of ourselves, our life can see a dramatic change, a drastic change. We think of ourselves first and then others. That is a mistake. We can all begin this discipline in many ways in our life, particularly between parents and children, husband and wife. So we can feel the hours of freshness by putting other persons first in our life. Very simple things. Whenever, for example, we go to a restaurant, it is good for the wife to give the menu to her husband and ask him to choose for her. मैं क्या कहूँ आप बताइए. Simple thing, no? Very small thing. Or the husband asks the wife, you take the menu, madam, my dear wife, and you select the dish, what I should eat today. In the early days, the going may be hard if we follow this principle in life. But if we can repeat this mantra and persist, we will find that gradually each person will be thinking only what pleases others. This is the effect of this mantra. This exercise in the reduction of self-will can be done in all little matters of life. Hairstyle, books, movies, attitude, or even opinions. Give importance to others first. These values are timeless. They were completely valid 5,500 years back when Shri Krishna said this Gita, and they are equally valid, and they will be equally valid even after another 5,000 years. Whatever unites people is spiritual and heals the individuals, families, and society. This is not losing one's personality, but gaining it. Don't think that by giving importance to others, you are losing your personality. You are gaining. Your personality is becoming brighter and brighter. All of us need to work towards realizing this unity in all our relationships. And where do the most common people stand? What attitude they really show in day-to-day life? Okay, this was the principle that we discussed. But in reality, where do we stand? Think who gives us the human identity? An attractive form or a cultured language or a refined thinking? A small story. A very beautiful woman, she entered the plane aircraft and started looking for her seat. She saw that her seat was next to a disabled person. The handicapped person did not have his hands. My God. The woman was hesitant to sit next to him because he had no hands, and it was very strange to see a person who has no hands. The beautiful lady, she told to the air hostess, I will not be able to travel comfortably on this seat. This person sitting next to me does not have both hands. Saying this, she requested the air hostess to change her seat. The air hostess, she was very surprised at the woman's behavior, and she asked hesitantly, Madam, can you tell me the reason for the same? The woman replied, that beautiful lady, she replied, I do not like such people. I will not be able to travel with such a person who has no hands. The air hostess was very surprised to hear this from an educated and polite looking lady, that she is talking like this. The woman once again insisted to the air hostess that I cannot sit on that seat. That is why I want another seat. Please. The air hostess looked around in search of an empty seat, but she could not find any vacant seat around. The air hostess she said to that lady, that woman, Madam, there is no vacant seat in this economy class. But it is our responsibility to take care of the comfort of our passengers. I will talk to the captain of the plane, and till then, you please be patient and please have something to drink. Saying this, the air hostess went to talk to the captain of the ship, captain of the aircraft. Shortly after that, the air hostess returned and said to the woman, Madam, sorry for the inconvenience caused to you. In this entire plane, there is only one vacant seat, and it is in the first class. While this is economy class, the vacant seat is in the first class only. I spoke to my team, and we have taken an extraordinary decision. For the first time in the history of our company, a passenger is being moved from economy class to first class without paying a bit. The woman was overjoyed. She thought she was going to get that first class seat. But before she could say a word of thanks in response, the air hostess went to that disabled person and politely asked him, Sir, please come with me to the first class. We don't want you to be bothered by traveling with a rude passenger sitting next to you. Hearing this, all the passengers welcomed his decision by clapping. Great decision by the airline. That very beautiful looking woman could not even look anyone into eyes. She was so embarrassed. The handicapped man stood up and said, I am an ex-serviceman. I lost both my hands in a bomb blast during a rescue operation. At first, when I heard this woman, I was wondering that I risked my life and lost my hands for those for whose safety ultimately? For these people who dislike me so much. But now, when I see all of you are reacting happily to the decision of the captain of the aircraft, I am now proud of myself that I have lost both my hands for my country and its people like you. And saying this, he went to the first class with that air hostess. Now that beautiful lady sitting with her head going down was completely embarrassed. If there is no generosity in thought, then such beauty is of no value, zero value. External beauty is of zero value. If your thoughts are so rubbish, learning to stop judging people is a seriously difficult task for us, for most of us. Because it is human nature to speculate or form opinion about someone without knowing anything about their circumstances. When someone evaluates us, we get angry and try to justify the situations that led to that opinion of us. The practice of heart-based meditation helps us rise above our human weakness. That is why meditation is extremely important, to cleanse our mind of such rubbish thoughts. Experience yourself when you are in meditation. The person who has gone beyond likes and dislikes, Shri Ramakrishna Parahans, he would say, is like an autumn leaf in the wind. It floats here when the wind blows here, it goes there when the wind blows there. Sometimes slowly it settles down on the ground also. The person who has gone beyond likes and dislikes is that leaf. On most occasions, we can make adjustment without any disloyalty to our ideas. Sometimes good things come to us, and sometimes bad things come to us. We can learn from both, good and bad. From both we can learn. We have enough resources to meet any challenge that comes our way. This approach does not reduce the joy of our life. It enables us to accept the joy that comes and also face the sorrow that comes with equanimity. Equanimity is the thrust Sri Krishna is giving in these shlokas. The bliss is the inner state of our being. Such a person does not need anyone to make him happy. The spiritual path is for one who is highly motivated, highly dedicated, with immense resolve for his own upliftment, and who continuously thinks only about his spiritual practices. Even when such a person converses with anyone, the topic of conversation is related to spiritual growth, not about Bollywood movies. If we, in our place, keep talking about people and events, then we are not sadhak. Gossiping is the last thing people should do if they are really a sadhak. Gossiping sometimes is very sweet to the ears, but it creates downfall, spiritual downfall in us. So keep away from gossiping about others. Okay, next shloka 66. नास्ति बुद्धिर्युक्तस्य न चायुक्तस्य भावना न चाभावेत शांतिर अशांतस्य कुतः सुखम. कुतः सुखम, कैसा हैप्पी होगा? How can you get joy? A person not established in the self, he lacks intuitive wisdom, and such a man of uncontrolled, disunited mind is far from wise. You can't call him wise, Nani. Definitely not. How can he meditate if his mind is not sthir, uncontrolled? If his mind is uncontrolled, can you focus on one point? Can you meditate? How can he be at peace? When you know that you are not at peace, how can you know the joy? When there is ashanti in your mind, how can you be happy? Isn't it? So here there is no mention of religion or spiritual life or even God in this shloka. God, Shri Krishna is giving us a plain simple fact for all human beings. Sri Krishna simply asks Arjuna, what intelligence anyone has who is not united within? Try to imagine an automobile whose four wheels want to go off in four different directions. Imagine a car. Four wheels want to run in different directions. This is actually what is happening to you and me. The senses are always running towards the stimulation. The mind runs in the direction of agitation. The intellect goes in the direction of argumentation. And the Atma just sits there watching all this and saying, we cannot do anything with this car. The four wheels are running in different direction. Mind is going different direction. Intellect is going different direction. Senses are going in different direction. This car cannot run. These people should not be in the driver's seat at all. This particular car should be called off. Like the companies call off the car when there is a defect in the car. So our way of working is also like the defective car. And God says, this car should be called off. Meditation and spiritual discipline mentioned in Bhagavad-Gītā for putting all the four wheels of our car back on the same road. Nasti buddhari yuktasya nacha yuktasya bhavana. If you are not united inside, with all your desires flowing towards one goal, you cannot get access to your deeper creative faculties. We have enough resources within ourselves. This is practical language. If you want to be a great painter, for example, you do not try to be a sculptor, a financier, or a linguistic expert, saying, well, painting is one of the things I am going to do. If you are going to paint, you paint. Then the Lord continues, na chayuktasya bhav, na chabhaveta shantir. If there is no harmony inside, you want to become painter and you don't do practice of painting, but you pursue something else, can you become a good painter? Na chabhaveta shantir. If there is no harmony inside, if there is no unity inside, how can you have peace of mind? This is something all of us can understand. If we are restless inside, if there is a war going on inside, which most of the time does, wherever we go, no matter what luxuries we live in, we will never feel safe and secured. Then what happens? Ashantasya kuta sukham. You are living in luxuries, but mentally you are ashanta. Kuta sukham. How can you have the joy then? When you have no peace in your heart, how can you know the joy? The purpose of meditation and spiritual discipline is to lead us to the joy. Everybody wants that. We may be little skeptical about this so-called joy in the initial stages. Meditation gives us joy. People may be skeptical about it. Meditation and joy, what are you talking? How can meditation be joy? Getting up early in the morning when it is more joyful to sleep, and you call it joy. People may laugh at you in the beginning. Eating less when it is more joyful to eat more. What are you talking? And putting other people's first. Is it a joy? What is your definition of joy, my dear friend? People may laugh at you in the beginning. Have you heard of any other ridiculous thought of joy than this? They may say like this. These are not unnatural questions. In the beginning, people may ask these questions. Even in your own mind, you may have these questions. But when the goal of meditation is complete, abiding joy, releasing the great capacities of service which lie untouched in all of us. Once we have the result of meditation, seeing practically in every activity that you perform during the day, then you realize the importance of meditation. When trouble and turmoil come, let us remember that it is the Lord's way of saying, don't forget me. If something unpleasant happens in our life, we blame the God. I am reading Gita every day and you are giving this sorrow to me. What is this, God? God says, this is my way of telling you, don't forget me. Let us be grateful when God sends the joy to us, because we all need joy. But let us be equally grateful when He sends sorrow to us, the physical ailments or mental distress or financial breakdown, whatever. Because these are This can enable us to turn towards inwards and remember him. We discussed this point few times, that Kunti used to pray to Shri Krishna to keep her giving some sorrows all the time. Don't keep me happy all the time. Give me sorrows also. Because only happiness, I don't remember you so much, but I remember you much more when I'm in distress. So when God sends some sorrow to us, we remember him more, isn't it? So this is God's way of saying, don't forget me. Ramakrishna Paramahansa used to say that our love for God should be great as love of a miser to gold, to his property. The love of mother to her child. The love of a lover for his beloved. All combined and multiplied by 1,000. So that means that should be the love that we should have for the God. This is the kind of bhakti we should try to cultivate in us. In our repetition of mantra, whatever mantra, whether Guru has given or you have learned from someone, we are asking the Lord to come and help us out because we cannot lift ourselves up by ourselves. So we are asking help by chanting of mantras. For those who have this simple faith, the time may come when they will receive an indication that Lord is coming to say, you are mine. This is grace. This is God's grace. But you should have full confidence that by chanting mantras every day for a few months, few years, I will have this one sentence from God sounding in my ears, you are mine, you are mine. That is grace of God. And when the Lord puts his mark on us, every sanskar picks up its bag and leaves. Past sanskars are all washed out. When God says you are mine, what remains then? Nothing. This experience of grace is not unlikely to come to most of us who are steadfast in their meditation and who, even though they have occasional lapses, are doing the best they can. We are not perfect. We have few lakinas. But whatever lakina, okay, continue. Don't stop. To recapitulate, the theme of this shloka is control of senses and mind for successful spiritual life. According to our scriptures, the way to spiritual knowledge, peace, and wisdom is through meditation, dhyan. Meditation is not simple pursuit of closing the eyes and sitting in a particular posture. आँख बंद करके बैठ गए और बोले meditation. For attaining the spiritual benefits, the true Guru's blessings are also necessary. It is only by following with devotion the instructions of the Guru that the wild senses can be controlled. And slowly and gradually, the seeker, the devotee, can advance in yoga. Meditation is the means and spiritual knowledge is the treasure. Meditation is the means to reach to that treasure of spiritual knowledge. In fact, meditation means experiencing the God in our mind. That is meditation. Who is the witness to our actions when no one is watching? We are entering into meditation. Okay, fine. Are we really doing meditation or mind is going somewhere else? The other people may think, oh, he is meditating. No? Don't disturb me, he is meditating. But our mind is dancing somewhere else. Who is the witness to our actions when no one is who is watching us? A small story again. On his trip to India, one German fellow, he once visited a temple that was under construction. He witnessed a sculptor making an idol of a goddess that was to be later installed in that temple. See, the German fellow saw this fellow. While looking around, he suddenly noticed that German fellow, a similar idol lying nearby, and he is making another one. Surprised, he asked that sculptor, do you need two statues of the same goddess in this temple? The sculptor who was working, he said, no. Without even looking up at him, he said, no, we want only one. We need only one. But the first one got damaged at the last stage. That is why I am making a new one. Curiously, that German gentleman, he went near to that previous idol which are lying there and he examined it thoroughly. And to his surprise, he found no apparent damage in that previously made statue of goddess. So he asked that sculptor, where is the damage? You are saying that is damaged, but I see it thoroughly. I don't notice any damage there. The sculptor, he said, there is a small scratch on the nose of that idol. Very casually he replied, and he continued his work. Then the German fellow asked, may I ask where this idol is going to be installed? The sculptor answered, yes, sure, I will tell you. It is to be installed on a pillar approximately 20 feet from the ground level, 20 feet high. What? The idol is to be placed that far, 20 feet. Who is even going to notice that there is a small scratch on the nose of goddess? The German fellow asked with a smile on his face, क्या काम कर रहे हो आप फिर से? The sculptor stopped his work. He looked up at the German gentleman for the first time and he smiled and said, who else will look? I will. I will know that I have made a mistake and I will see that whenever I see that goddess, I will blame myself. What kind of work you have done? There is a scratch on the nose of goddess. Is this the way you want to work? The desire to excel in one's work is exclusive of the fact of whether others see it or not. Others appreciate it or not. Even when it happens, no one is watching. There is always one constant witness in all our karmas, all our deeds, all our thoughts, all our intentions. And that is our Atma, our soul. Which is a fragment of Paramatma ultimately. Okay. One can hide from everyone, but one cannot hide from one's own self. दुनिया से भाग सकते हो, अपने आप से कहाँ भागोगे आप? Isn't it? Climb the mountain not with the intention for the world to see you, but with the intention to see the world for you, for yourself. When we have done our work, then nobody can deny the results. The work done with a sense of duty does not develop ego, it brings perfection in us. So this is the thought which we should cultivate in our mind, and every shloka of Gita that we read, we should read with this intention, how to bring Paramatma's message in our life. Gita padhe padhai aur जीवन में लाए. Next shloka. इंद्रियाणां हि चरतां यन्मनो निविधीयते तदस्य हरति प्रज्ञां वायुर्नावमिवाम्भसि. Vayurnavamimvasi. As stormy winds sweep away a boat in the sea, likewise, when the senses wander amidst the sense objects, just a single sense, single indriya with which the mind associates is powerful enough to abduct the intellect of deluded people, deluded ones. This is the word meaning of this shloka. Now, we all have heard the famous poem explaining the tragedy of human life. You might have heard this poem. Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday, christened on Tuesday, married on Wednesday, took ill on Thursday, worse on Friday, died on Saturday, buried on Sunday. This is the end of Solomon Grundy. This poem many of you have read definitely. Now we want to live life like that Solomon. Take birth, get education, hold on to a job, earn money, get married, produce children, and Monday, Ram Nam Satya. Is this the way to live the life? Agreed that the sense control is a challenging exercise. It needs our Guru's given techniques to be used and followed up with deep devotion. The mind rules over the senses, and unless it is controlled, the senses cannot be controlled. Senses do not have their own intellect. It is the mind which controls the senses. So to control the mind, to control the senses. Senses, being reckless rebels, are to be controlled slowly, softly, and effectively. Like an adept sailor who steers clear the boat to the destination despite storms, an ardent yogi has to be vigilant to ward off the sense pressures. The Lord says that just as a boat at sea gets swept away in the storm, likewise, the storm of our desires sink the boat of your sense, mind, intellect, drifting in the ocean of this world. And when we say senses, it means the combination of senses and mind, because the senses cannot function without mind. Can an unconscious person smell any good thing kept right under his nose? You put a rose flower under his nose, but he is unconscious. Can he get the pleasure out of that? Can a man have any physical urge for a beautiful damsel made to stand in front of him when he is in the state of deep sleep? He is not knowing who is standing in front of him. This is because the senses, the sense doorway through which the mind is to turn towards it so as to interact with the outside world is now closed. So when the mind is closed, the senses do not run after that attractive things in the life. When the senses get then deadened, when the mind is sleeping, the Lord says that when the storm of desire arises in your any of your senses, it is enough to sweep away from your path. Your mind interacts with the sense objects through whichever sense, eyes, ears, nose, anything, tongue. This one sense is enough to get you distracted, to plunder your intellect. A group of boys were driving on their motorcycles when their attention got distracted by a beautiful girl who was going on the scooter on the same road. So they started following up that beautiful looking girl and kept on doing so until she reached her home. After she had gone, one of the boys, he said, "By the way, were we not supposed to go somewhere else? Are we supposed to come here?" The other hastily he replied, "Oh my dear, we were heading for our tuition classes, and see where we have landed. Look where we are now." So just one sense organ, eyes. The eyes were enough to lead the boys their intellect astray. So any one sense can distract you from your path. They wanted to go to the tuition class and they went to that girl's house. Eyes. Okay, next loka 68. Paramatma says, Tasmadyasya mahabaho nigruhitani sarvashah indriyani indriyarthebhyastasya pradnya pratisthita. O mighty arm Mahabaho Arjuna, therefore he whose senses stand withdrawn from the sense objects, Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasa Gandha, only such a person is wise and poised. Now the point being explained is that when senses are attached to the sense objects, then intellect is outwardly exposed, isn't it? In such a state, intellect is unfit and incapable of seeking the self. He is not looking inside, he is seeing outside. What is required is to withdraw the senses from their respective sense objects and direct them inwards. A wise man keeps his poise and balance by following this course of action, moving inwards. We must remember that unless senses are effectively controlled and rendered ineffective like snake by removing his teeth, senses can re-emerge. I always say that before we do any karma, we have to remove those two poisonous teeth of our karma, kartrutva viman and karma phala ichha, fruits of your karma. We all know the story of Alexander the Great. He, after attacking India, was returning and he died at a place called Babylon. We know that. He had instructed his staff that his hands should be kept wide open hands, facing to the sky when his last journey was to be taken. He said that let the world know that the great Alexander wanted to win the whole world, but he had come empty-handed and he left the world empty-handed. What is true for Alexander, is it not true for all of us? Are we something better than Alexander or what? So this is But we need to remember that we came empty-handed and we will go empty-handed only. Control your senses. What does the Lord mean by this? Control your senses. See, your senses don't function without the input from your mind. And this mind can be controlled by your intellect. Intellect is above the mind. We learned this in third Adhyaya also. The mind is fickle and wayward, but the intellect knows what is right and what is wrong. Your eyes see a pile of money lying on the table and the greed arises in your mind. But if your intellect is functioning well and you listen to your intellect, you will be saved from the act of stealing. Mind may think I should steal this money, but the intellect is guarding the mind. Don't do it. Thoughts and counter thoughts keep arising in our mind. Because that is the nature of mind, thoughts and counter thoughts. It keeps registering all information obtained through the sense organs, eyes, ears, everything. And due to presence of attachment and aversion, raga, dvesha, the mind keeps on thinking about entire, either possessing those things, but the senses grab, or avoiding the sensory objects. When you like it, you want to possess it. You don't like it, you want to give away. But if you use your intellect, your discriminatory wisdom, your viveka buddhi, as to what is right and what is wrong, what is in your interest and what is not in your interest, then your wavering mind will get quietened automatically. You know what is good for you. This and Shlok 67, which we read, Indranam Vyakta Yanmano Vidye Tasari Pradnya Vayurnavimbasi. These are a comment on the fate of our modern civilization. We face because we do not correct our habits of sense gratification at all times. Anyone who follows the seductive call of senses, which promise satisfaction, security, fulfillment, is likely to meet disaster. The Lord therefore tells us to train our senses, to turn them from turbulent masters to the obedient servant. Don't allow them to govern you, you govern them. Without this period of discriminating sense restraint, all of us risk the danger of rebellion and continuous riots within ourselves. Senses can play havoc. So, all of us, what we need to do is to purify, sublimate our intellect. There is nothing else that can be done. What can anyone do to become Parabrahma? You were, you are, and you will always be Parabrahma. If that is so, then what does the Guru do? If this is already a fact that you are Parabrahma, you were, you will be, then what does the Guru do? Guru simplifies, he simply rectifies, purifies our intellect. And by reading, contemplating Bhagavad-Gītā, we are doing that process of refining our intellect. If the intellect is refined, mind gets refined. And when the mind is refined, the senses do not go wayward. So Guru, he purifies your intellect. He does not have a magical wand in his hand that, okay, this will happen. He is refining your intellect. And as you finally see things as they really are, and it dawns upon you, I am one that I was always looking for. This you realize when the intellect is refined. The intellect gets stunned with astonishment that I was looking everywhere outside and I am that what I was looking for. I did not realize it. The mind gets completely silenced then. And what is left is Shunya. Shunya is Parabrahma. Because when you realize you are Parabrahma, what else remains to be done? Nothing. Shunya. Okay, next sloka, 69. Shri Krishna says further, Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasya jagrati sayyami yasya jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato munehe. What is night for common person, common people? Spiritually wise, jnani, They are awake during that time. And when common people are awake, what is day for them? It is the night for the spiritually wise people. So what is day for us? It is night for them. What is night for them? It is day for us. So opposite. The reality is that what interests and matters to the ordinary people of the world is of no interest and of no consequence to the spiritually enlightened people. The objects and material that senses and mind crave are unattractive for the yogi. The inner light of spirit being unknown to common people, they are therefore in darkness. And spiritual light being ablaze in the heart of a yogi, he can see when and where it is dark for others. When we discuss spirituality with someone who is not interested, he says, हमको समझ में नहीं आता आप क्या बात कर रहे हैं. We don't understand anything. He is in the dark. People who have understood Gita, people who have understood this jnana of Bhagavad Gita, for them that is the day when that jnana is there in their mind. People who are ignorant, for them it is dark. The central idea is that unenlightened people are lost in the sleep of spiritual ignorance. Yanishasvara bhutanam. Those worldly people whose senses and mind are uncontrolled and who are immersed in the pleasures only are asleep in dark because they never think that the aim of human life is liberation, salvation, atmajnan, mukti, moksha. Further, they never think what is God, what is self-realization, why there are burning sensations in us, where will our misdeeds take us. Turning away from these thoughts, ignoring them is complete darkness. So for worldly people, if you discuss this kind of questions with them, have you thought what is God, what is liberation, what is Atmadyan? They will say, hey, Baba, what are you talking? We don't understand this terminology, what you are talking. So it is complete darkness for them. Any thought of spirituality is a darkness for a person who is so much deeply immersed in the worldly thoughts only. So when the worldly people remain asleep in the dark, having no inclination towards God realization, the yogi, the seer, who has controlled his senses and mind, who has no attachment for pleasures or prosperity, and whose aim of life is only God realization. That is the Vyavasayatmika buddhi he has. Single pointed focused buddhi. God realization is the only objective of my life. He remains wakeful about his intuition, his concepts, his percepts are filled with divinity all the time. His thoughts are not scattered. They are going in the same direction. Yasya Jagrati Bhutani. The worldly people who want to accumulate wealth by means of fair or foul means, or who hanker after temporary sensual pleasures, honor and praise, etc., are wakeful of mundane or unimportant affairs. Yasya Jagrati Bhutani. Sanisha Pashyato Munehe. When people are engaged in these activities of earning more wealth by fair or foul means, running after sensual pleasures, Sanisha Pashyato Munehe. The worldly people feel very happy and deem themselves very wise in enjoying and hoarding worldly pleasures. This, a yogi, a karma yogi, a seer, in the state of divine knowledge and supreme bliss, he perceives these activities as dark. Running after sensual pleasures, amassing wealth, he considers this as dark, waste of time. This latter part of shloka is very important and holds a deep meaning. Human beings perform all their worldly activities in the daytime when they are physically awake. And as the Lord has clearly explained in Shlok 62 and 63, Dhyato Vishan Pusa Sangasteshu Pajayate, Sangat Sanjayate, Kamak Kamat Kurtu Vijayate, Krudat Bhavati Sammoha Sammohat Sudivya Brahma, Pati Brahmashad Vidyanasho, Vidyanashad Pranashyati. These activities which he does in the daytime, they involve contemplation of sensory objects, which lead to attraction, enchantment, developing for those objects. His attachment in turn leads to rising of desires. And if the desires are not fulfilled, it leads to anger. We learned that already in 62 and 63 shlokas. And note, if the desires do not get fulfilled, it will further strengthen the, if desire gets fulfilled, then it will strengthen the attachment to that desire. एक बार करके मजा है, फिर से करते हैं. And when does not get fulfilled, anger. So Kamana is a double-ended sword. It kills you from both the sides. Anger plunders the memory of acquired knowledge, and this in turn leads to destruction of intellect. Now, what is day for worldly people? The yogi regards that as night. What does being awake mean to a worldly individual? Sensory gratification of mind attained by interacting with the world through different senses. But this state of waking is akin to night for a yogi. This means that the yogi does not contemplate upon sensory world and has no attraction, no attachment of intellect. When the worldly people are awake, the yogi sleeps. This does not mean that a yogi literally, physically sleeps in the daytime. He is also a human being, no? It means that all the worldly objects that ignorant people hanker for, Jnani is in deep, distilled dispassion for them. Being dispassion is akin to going into sleep. He has transcendented all passions and dispassions of this world. A worldly person's preoccupation is with sensory pursuit of this world, isn't it? Whereas a yogi, he is concerned only with the self-realization. The worldly person is happy with gratification obtained through his senses. On the contrary, meeting a saintly being in the company of sages, being able to listen to their words of wisdom, becoming meditative in their presence, that is a joyous moment for a Jnani. So when he meets others, they exchange thoughts on this only. About meditation, about sadhana, about God relation, about self-realization. That is the day for them. That is a joyous moment for them. Joy is joy. But it depends on how you define the joy. Worldly people get joy in sincere gratification. While Jnani gets joy in thinking on this Atma Jnana, Indriya Nigraha, meditation. So, where do we stand? So, what is day for worldly people is the night for yogi. Hence, there is nothing in common between a yogi and a worldly person. We need to practice living unattached, aloof, while living in this material world. Every night before going to sleep, we need to ponder over two questions. Why have I come to this world? And where am I supposed to go? We should express our gratitude to the God every night and think on what have I done so far in my life for the self-development, Atma Kalyan, for self-realization, Atma Jnana, and whatever I have tried, how much development have I really achieved? Do this own swadhyaya, self-study. Have I tried to understand the God and His creation? Thinking on this every day and working to find answers to these questions will definitely lead us to the light of Brahma Jnana one day. Because we will try to search answers for these questions, isn't it? And Gita gives answers to all these questions. Okay, next sloka, 670. God says further, Apuryamana pratishtam samudramapa pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashanti mapnoti na kama kami. God says, the brimful ocean remains undisturbed despite all rivers, canals entering into it. Similarly, a spiritually poised man remains unperturbed even when various desires enter his mind, unlike a common man of the world, the kamakami, who is affected and agitated by the desires. Now, one may wonder, how can the worldly desires enter the mind of a yogi? The answer is that the karma of past, not only this life, but previous lives, may cause desires coming into the mind of yogi also. And these desires and the karma samskars of the past will always enter the mind of yogi also. But these desires cannot affect the yogi because his mind, therefore, remains unaffected by the external world. Prarabdha, that means the effect. We discussed this concept of Kriyaman, Prarabdha and Sanchit. So the Prarabdha, effect of our past karma, is not in the hands of the yogi, even though through sadhana he can neutralize them. The central idea is that good and bad things do not affect the yogi, like the calmness of ocean is not affected either by the floods or drying up of the flow of rivers. In monsoon, when all the rivers are overflowing, entering into the sea, it does not overflow. In the summer, when the rivers themselves don't have water, the level of ocean does not go down. It remains undisturbed in both the situations. The yogi is not someone who hides in some remote cave or on a mountain away from the world. And neither does he have any aversion to the worldly pleasures. If by virtue of his past karma he effortlessly leads a life of luxury, he accepts that luxury also without problem. It's not that he hates luxury. And never does he hanker after luxuries and pleasures if he does not get those luxuries in his life. But without asking if it has come his way, he does not hate it. But he does not run after it also. Why go far? Look at Sri Krishna. His life was anything but simple. He never had unkept hair, nor did he wear Bhagava Vastra like I am wearing now, like a brahmachari or a sannyasi, or he did not put a tilak on his head all the time, on his forehead. Neither did he allow Arjuna to renounce the world. Arjuna wanted to become sannyasi. Bhakshamapi holoke. He said, no, what are we talking? And he did not ask Arjuna to lead a very austere life. Not only did he instruct Arjuna to fight the war, but he also added that once Arjuna won the war, he would enjoy the riches of his newly found kingdom. He never told Arjuna to relinquish the world after winning the war and become a sannyasi. Your job is done after winning the war, now you can become sannyasi. He never said that. It is not imperative to distance senses from sense objects. Eradicating attachment from the mind is what is needed. Sri Krishna advocated path of living gloriously where there was no room for being pathetic or miserable. There is no one more opposed to poverty than Sri Krishna. See how he eradicated the dire poverty of his friend Sudama, because he did not like poverty. He eradicated the poverty of his good friend Sudama. He was the epitome of bliss. So how could he then encourage tears and misery? But despite all this, he was nevertheless a supreme yogi, a Yogeshwar. When we see this Yogeshwar stealing the clothes of gopis or butter from their homes or slaying Shishupal or Ashwathama by deceit, we should conclude that even after performing all sorts of action, he remains untouched, unaffected, totally detached from it all. He played his divine game as a witness without any attachment and aversion. And he is teaching the same to Arjuna. Kill the people in the war, no problem, but without attachment and aversion, as your kartavya karma, as your prescribed duty, to realize his real self and perform all actions, transcending all attachments. So this is the message. Next shloka 71. God says, विहाय कामान्य सर्वान् पुमाश्रति निस्पृहः निर्ममो निरहंकारः स शान्तिमधिगच्छति. Those people who abandon all the desires of the heart and all longings about I, mine, moving freely everywhere in a detached way, they attain peace. They attain peace. Moving freely everywhere means what? It means these spiritually realized people, they talk, walk, and conduct themselves like various other people because some of their past karma samskars or prarabdha have not been fully worked out and exhausted. But such worldly actions do not affect them at all because desire is the cause of motivated action, which is not there in them. Actions may happen because of their past samskars, but the desire, as of now, desire is not there in mind. Such people are above the desires, so there is no question of any bondage for them of those actions which they take. They are fully aware of the karma samskar prarabdha law. That previous karmas, they fall into sanchit. Sanchit can prop up as prarabdha anytime. They are aware of this. And they do neutralize their operations. They being enlightened, even though working, they are free and always peaceful. The central idea is that yogi living in the world is not of the world. He is of himself only. He is not of the world. He is living in the world. See, whatever you relinquish, you give up, you remember that you can revert back to it again. आज छोड़ दिया कल वापस आ सकते हैं ना. Just like a child offers you his chocolate. A child is eating the chocolate, you say, हमको देना chocolate. He will give it to you and promptly pull it back again. He wants it back the very next moment. The desire to give up everything is also at the end of the day a desire. And it is changeable. It is revocable. Not irrevocable. It is revocable. Such that you will undo your own actions. Those who become sannyasi due to some worldly life frustration, they soon go back to the same world which they were hating earlier and they had relinquished that same world few days back. So their action was not irrevocable, it was revocable. The Lord says that the self-realized one is the one who has not deliberately relinquished his desires under some frustration. But his desires have dropped away automatically because of his jnana. Like dry leaves shedding from the tree, his desires have gone to the dust. No desires. A monk was meditating under a tree with open eyes when he saw a dry leaf falling from the branch. We also see, but how does the thinking change? You see, floating in the wind and gently dropped that leaf gently dropped on the ground. That monk was watching this. We also watch it. The very instant he became enlightened, falling off a dry leaf from the tree, going here and there and falling on the ground, he became enlightened. You also see the same, but do we get enlightened by seeing such simple things? He thought that a dry leaf simply falls off the tree, whereas a healthy green leaf has to be pulled out. Similarly, if the realization has not yet dawned and you keep pulling more and more desires, then each desire sprouts 10 more desires, keeping you enslaved all the time. Hence, live mindfully and consciously. Safeguard your discriminatory wisdom, viveka buddhi. When your awareness reaches the optimum level, then you don't have to take any efforts to eradicate desires from your mind. The desires, the lust, the greed will all wither away just like the dried leaves that fall from that autumnal tree. A rich man, he went to a fakir, offering him some money and fruits, and asked him for his blessings so that his desires would get fulfilled. The fakir readily agreed and he said aloud, "O Lord, never fulfill this man's desires." never fulfills. Needless to say, this made that man very angry. अरे इसको इतना पैसा दिया, फल फूल दिया, मेरे को बोलते हैं his desires never should get never fulfilled. He asked the fakir, why he made such a bad prayer for me? The fakir replied, see, if your desires get fulfilled, you will further entrench into attachment of those desires. On the contrary, if the desires are not fulfilled, even though you will be unhappy for a while, eventually your wisdom will allow you to see the truth and you will end up being contented. Happiness gives momentary excitement and lulls the people into complacency and unawareness. Whereas sorrow, it stimulates one to look after or look for the everlasting peace and bliss. A happy mind is full of excitement and keeps bouncing like a ball floating around in a bubble. And your real self-wisher will always want that bubble to get burst. बहुत नाच रहा है. For this is the only way your mind will want to seek peace and spiritual evolution. So as we discussed sometime back, the God may send us some sorrow someday. That is, don't forget me. That is a message for us. Don't forget me. The Lord says in this slok that the one who is free from all desires, free from bondage of attachment, free from grip of ego, such a person alone can attain the real peace. Sashantima digacchati. The point being made is that as long as you identify with the body, there is no possibility of being in peace. For the body is inevitably associated with the sense indulgences, sickness, old age, sufferings, and death. Moreover, even the pleasures experienced at the level of body are invariably momentary, temporary. And if you identify with mind, then at the level of mind, there is inevitable occurrence of agitation, anxiety, worries, grief, sufferings. So identifying with body has some problem. Identifying with mind has some problem. At the level of intellect, there is uncertainty, irresolution, ignorance, lack of wisdom. It is only when one dissociates, ceases all identification with body, mind, and intellect. Associating with any of these three is a problem. Then one realizes that in essence, I am the peace. I am bliss. Every time you become confused, anxious, worried, know that you have fallen from your real nature and instead have to got stuck at the level of mind or intellect. Don't be stuck in your mind. Don't be stuck in your intellect. Discard this pseudo identity that I am mind, I am body, I am intellect, and know who you really are. That is what God says. The last look of this adhyaya now, 72nd. एषा ब्रह्मे स्थितिः पार्थ नैनां प्राप्य विमुह्यति स्थित्वा स्यामन्तकालेऽपि ब्रह्मनिर्वाणमृच्छति. God says, oh beloved Arjuna, my dear friend Arjuna, the one who has realized his real self, who has attained Parabrahma, he never falls back into that trap of attachment again in his life. And he remains in that state right until the hour of his death. Antakalipi. Till his Antakal, he remains in that stage only. His inner state of being never changes despite all his interactions with the material objective world. Now note that when such a realized individual associates and interacts with the phenomenal material world, it is possible that some repulse may arise in his mind. Of course, yes. After all, he will be dealing with objects and people. And just as you and me do in that process, he will be accepting some and rejecting some things. But the cardinal point to be noted is that mental activities notwithstanding, all this can never change his state of self-realization and oneness with the Parabrahma. Bahar kijiye bahar. I will not allow my internal peace to get disturbed. My association with Parabrahma, I don't want to get it disturbed. In dealing with the objective world, even if a jnani is seen to be crying, externally you may see a jnani crying loudly, know that it is deceptive. And it is a part of his interactions. If at times you feel that a jnani has many attachments, don't get fooled that yes, he has the attachment. Because it is what it seems to be, but it is not in reality so. The supreme state of realization is permanent and it never changes. And this is the reason why Shri Krishna is so strongly advocating Arjuna to realize his pure self, his real self, and then interact with this world as it could then never harm him in any way. Once the butter has been churned from curd, can the butter ever merge with the buttermilk? Can the butter now ever revert to the curd or to the milk state again? आपने घी निकाल लिया तो घी का फिर से मिल्क बना सकते हैं क्या? Cannot do it, no? It cannot, because the nature and the innate qualities have drastically changed from milk to pure ghee. Likewise, as long as ignorance prevails, you remain under delusion of Maya. But no sooner than one attains the supreme knowledge by the grace of Guru and realizes his once real self, then the one that person, that yogi, can never revert back to being in bondage of his body. It is simply impossible. He's already freed himself. He will not go back to that bondage again. Hence, we need to work hard only once. That is it. Once you attain that stage, no more working is required. You will not go back for the love for body or mind or intellect. Putting your mind to it, contemplating with intellect, being established in the self, it is then that is the inner explosion of wisdom happens. And once all your hard work, your spiritual practices fructify with the Lord's grace and your Guru's grace, you realize yourself. Then you can freely wander in this world. Then nothing can distract you. That stage once you have achieved, then you keep wandering anywhere in the world. It cannot distract you. No adverse effect of anything on you at all. When you have realized who you are, enjoy the world to the utmost. You know who you are. So don't hate the world then. What abides is the I. That is all pervasive, attributeless, neither in bondage nor liberated. I that has no desires, for I am everything, everywhere, and all the time. Always in equanimity. I am indeed the eternal truth, pure Chaitanya, pure bliss, and all-knowing Parabrahma. Those who have seen the old movie Guide of Devanand, in the movie is shown a person running after women, running after drinks, running after money, but somehow something happens at the end of the movie and he becomes a sannyasi. Then he goes into fast until death, so that rain can fall in that village. When he realizes that Jnana, Atma Jnana, and the rain really falls, he says, all life I have been asking for something. Now today, I have the confidence that whatever I ask, I will get. But the funny thing is, I have no desire now. So this is the stage one achieves. That the desires totally disappear from your mind, your intellect. This is the end of second Adhyaya, Sankhya Yoga. Jai Shri Krishna to all. Now the forum is open for you to ask your questions. Jai Shri Krishna.
Thank you so much, Vikas Bhaiya, for your enlightening words. This was a very beautiful interpretation session. And also, today's interpretation helped us very much to understand the second chapter of Śrīmad-Bhagavadgītā very efficiently, as well as in easy words. Now we'll have a short question and answer session where sadhaks may seek further clarity. So anyone of the joint participants who wish to ask any questions, please raise hand and switch on your cameras. Okay, Rajneesh ji.
Jai Shri Krishna Bhaiya and Jai Krishna to everyone.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Bhaiya, my question relates to the fact that we say that it is only human being who is privileged to do the karma.
Yes.
Rest all living beings do not have this privilege of doing the karma. On
Yes.
this aspect, there was a discussion among some people, but there was a counter question to this aspect. They said, who says like a dog who is guarding his master is also doing a karma?
Hmm.
So what exactly is the counter to this kind of thought process?
You see, every uni, every species out of all 84 lakh unis, they have to do some karma to survive physically. When a dog is looking for food in the street, it is doing a karma. But that more than karma, it is a bhog. It is a bhog. Other than Manushya yoni, all are bhog yunis. They are repaying the price of their deeds or misdeeds. Hence, the celestial gods is a bhog yuni. Those who have performed good sattvic karmas, they are getting the bhog of their good karmas in the Swargaloka, in the celestial abode. Those who have not, those who have performed a lot of dushkrutya, they get the birth in the lower species and they get bhog of their bad karmas in the form of either a dog or some such lower species. So other than human, all are bhog yunis only. And whatever karmas they do, they don't lead them to Parabrahma. They only cleanse their past karmas. Like a dog is cleansing his past karmas by remaining hungry for many days or by getting a stick on his back on the street many times. That is a bhog that he has to suffer, he has to go through. He might have troubled people in his earlier life. So he has to pay for his karmas. So he's paying that. That is a bhog yoni. It does not take him close to the God. But when his bhogas are complete and when he becomes little cleaner, then he can elevate. Then God is gracious to give him a birth in the higher yoni. So that he can again go back to the sadhana. God has given us many chances. We don't know this is which life we are living now. This may be the 100th life. We don't know. Every life we are making a waste of it. We are wasting our time and energy by not attaining Paramatma. God is saying, I have given you the human yoni for attaining me. But instead of attaining me, you are attaining your own material, physical, sensual world. With this, we are downgrading ourselves. And that is the great message this Adhyaya has taught us. That we are that spirit of Atma, that Mama Vamsha okay, that fragment of Paramatma. Paramatma is inviting us to attain him by doing this spiritual sadhana. But by falling lower and lower, we are going into bhog yonis. So all other yonis are bhog yonis only, except the human yoni. Jai Shri Krishna. Any other questions, please?
Geeta ji.
Pranam, Vikas Bhaiya.
Pranam. Pranam.
I'm from Nagar. My simple question. Yeah, today's Vivechan was wonderful, very nice, very clear, sir. My question is, you talked about self-realization and God-realization. Is it the same?
Yes, it is practically same because as I always say, Mamai Mama should do okay. If our Atma, our soul is a fragment of Paramatma, knowing ourselves, our own Atma is like knowing the Paramatma. So Brahmadhyan is nothing different than Atmadhyan. Atmadhyan is what?
Uh,
To realize what I am. The
okay,
day you realize that I am God, what else to be attained? Everything you attain by knowing that you are God, you are Parabrahma.
okay,
So Atmadhyan and Brahmadhyan are practically the same things.
okay, okay, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Are there any more questions from the joint sadhaks? If no, can we move to conclusion, Bhaiya?
Yeah.
Okay. Mamta ji.
Jai Shri Krishna Bhaiya.
Jai Shri Krishna.
भैया मैं हिंदी में पूछ सकती हूँ?
हाँ जरूर जरूर।
हाँ भैया, मुझे बोला था कि मैं भी 2022 से गीता परिवार से जुड़ी हुई हूँ। और
हम्म
ऐसे भी मेरा एक सत्संग का भी है जिसमें हम लोग को गीता ही सिखाया जाता है।
हम्म
पर ये लग रहा है ना कि ये सबको अटेंड करना बहुत मुश्किल हो रहा है। एक टाइम ऐसा होता है कि हमें लगता है हमने बहुत कुछ सीख लिया है, फिर
हम्म
सडनली कुछ सिचुएशंस आते हैं तो लगता है कि अरे हम तो वहीं स्टक है, अभी भी हमारे अंदर तो सब कुछ है, कामना भी है, इच्छा भी है। तो भैया ये कैसे प्रोग्रेस होगा? ऑल्दो लगता है कि हाँ कुछ तो हमने अचीव किया है, बट कभी ऐसे कुछ होता है तो लगता है कि अरे हम तो नहीं बढ़ पाए। और भैया मैंने पथिक का एग्जाम भी दे दिया, अभी मैं व्रती के लिए भी तैयारी कर रही हूँ, लेकिन लग रहा है कि अभी तक तो कुछ होना चाहिए ना फिर।
हम्म। देखिए परीक्षा देना ये एक बात है, लेकिन गीता के बारे में
हाँ
मनन चिंतन करना ये दूसरी बात है। परीक्षा दे के हम क्या करते हैं, सर्टिफिकेट प्राप्त करते हैं, हमारे घर जो गेस्ट आते हैं उनको दिखाते हैं, देखो मैंने गीता का सर्टिफिकेट प्राप्त किया है, मैंने गीता पढ़ी है, मेरे को 600 में से 600 नंबर आए हैं। ठीक है,
जी भैया।
फॉर योर सेटिस्फैक्शन इट इज ओके गुड, बट द मैसेज ऑफ गीता इज टू बी इनकलकेटेड इन योर डे टू डे लाइफ, देन ओनली वी कैन चेंज अवर लाइफ. By merely learning the pronunciation of Gita is not enough to change your life. It will give you good solace, good peace of mind, agreed. But it will not change your karma. Because unless you understand what you are reading in Gita, what is the message of Lord Krishna in Gita, and you try to absorb the message in you and accordingly change your behavior, your conduct, your habits, how can you change your karma? And unless you change your karma, how can you go higher in your life, spiritual life, I mean?
भैया
So to
that
contemplate.
was I was asking you how to change our habits,
Ah,
how to change our karmas. It's very difficult.
yes, yes.
Once a
So
habit is created,
God has replied to this question also in Gita. Abhyas and Vairagya. Abhyas and konte Vairagya cha grihiyate. If you do Abhyas, Abhyas means doing the same thing again and again is Abhyas. And Vairagya is dispassion. Vairagya means not going on Himalaya or hiding in a cave somewhere. Vairagya is dispassion from the material world. ये चाहिए वो भी चाहिए, मेरे पास एक गाड़ी है दो गाड़ी चाहिए, एक फ्लैट है दो फ्लैट चाहिए, वन फार्म हाउस चाहिए. This dispassion has to be there. Vairagya and Abhyas. These are the only two tools which can ultimately change our life. Abhyas you can do
uh,
by reading Gita again and again, and Vairagya you can do it by training your mind to distance itself away from the material world. If people are talking about material world, prestige, money, property, plot, money, gold, everything, keep your mind away from it. Think that this is not the way you want to live your life. Whatever has to be done, I have done in my life. I achieved whatever is to be achieved. Now my objective in the remaining part of my life is to attain Paramatma. That kind of Vyavsayatmika buddhi, firmness in our intellect has to be there. Unless the intellect is firm, unless the buddhi is Vyavsayatmika, we cannot attain God. Why Vyavsayatmika buddhi is the one which is always related to the material world. And that's what God has taught us in this Adhyaya. That those who are hankering after this material world, they have avyavsayatmika buddhi, and their buddhi cannot sit in samadhi. And unless we sit in samadhi, we cannot become one with Paramatma. To have samadhi, our buddhi has to be, our intellect has to be vyavsayatmika, single pointed, focused buddhi. So this is achievable by abhyas and vairagya. So these two principles we should always remember while reading Gita. Abhyas, abhyas, abhyas. Read Gita as many times as possible. By reading Gita
yes.
once, by attending class once, 40 minutes class once we attend, and we think that we will become enlightened. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. It needs consistent practice of knowing, of thinking, of training our own mind, doing swadhyay, our own self-study. What I have read, where do I stand in this? That's why I always insist that every sloka.
भैया what you said about material things, तो
Yeah.
वो तो काफी कुछ ऐसे कंट्रोल हो गया भैया, बट सामने से when लाइक आप कोई का बहुत रेस्पेक्ट करते हो एंड वो आपको सामने से इंसल्ट करता है, देन
हाँ,
यू फील बैड ना, ये सब भी होता है।
हो सकता है ना सामने वाला आपको इंसल्ट करे आपका प्रेज करे, बट
हाँ
व्हाट वी हैव लर्नड वी हैव टू टेक बोथ थिंग्स in a way that it does not disturb your internal peace. Outwardly you may shout back at him, no problem. Outwardly you can get angry at him, but internally your peace of mind should not get disturbed. Because once
Yeah.
the peace of mind gets disturbed, then you are losing your direction. So externally, we have to behave the way other people are behaving. But remembering very well that this is my external behavior, internally I am totally different than what I am. So this internal behavior and external behavior are two different things which we have to understand clearly.
यस भैया ये तो लगता है कि इंटरनली जैसे हमको कोई थाम के रखा है, इंटरनली उतना डिस्टर्ब नहीं होते, बट एक बार वो आता है वेग लेकिन वो रुक जाता
हाँ हाँ, तो यदि आप
है।
इंटरनल डिस्टर्ब
इंटरनली
नहीं
लगता
होते
है
हैं, हाँ, तो एक्सटर्नली आप कुछ भी करें, इंटरनली आपको डिस्टर्ब नहीं होना है। कुछ भी करें मतलब ये नहीं दैट वी शुड मिसबिहेव विद अदर्स,
नो नो
but externally you may appear to be disturbed. As I said, Swamiji can also cry. One sadhu can cry in public if something wrong happens with him. Internally, he is not disturbed. Internally, he is at peace only. He is not crying internally. I always give the example of Sri Krishna, no? He always remained detached from everything. He did not get attached to his own mother, Yashoda. Once he left Vrindavan, he did not go back to Vrindavan. When he detached from himself from Radha, he did not go back to Radha. जब थे तब आदर्श, but when he left that, then he is on a different path.
he never looked
That is
back.
what we should
Yes.
be. हाँ, प्रेम भी चाहिए लेकिन अलिप्तता भी चाहिए. Love has to be there, but we should keep ourselves detached also. So this is the message of
वही
Geeta,
भैया
that
वो
that it is difficult to follow in the practical life, but this is the only way to attain Paramatma. And with practice you can attain it. And to attain it, best thing is to sadhana, that means meditation. Sit down in meditation for at least 30 minutes a day in the morning. Take any shloka Bhagavad Gita which you like the most, the thinking of the shloka which you like most. Sit in meditation, close your eyes, stop all your thinking process, think only about that shloka. Try to absorb the message of that shloka deep in your subconscious. It is your subconscious which changes your life. Conscious mind is always attached to the material world. Subconscious is the mind which is attached to your past life as well as to your spiritual life. So you have to change your subconscious thoughts, subconscious mind, and that can be changed through meditation, through contemplation, manan chintan. Jai Shri Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna.
Dr. Babaji Charandash.
Hari Om, Namaste again.
Namaste.
You have just answered my question. You have just answered my question. I understood it. My question was, God realization is the aim of our life, and
Yes.
or self-realization. But without practice of meditation, if he has a good qualities, all good qualities, religious qualities, etc. He believes in God, but without meditation, giving time to meditation, whether he can realize God or not.
See, meditation is the fastest way of attaining God. That is the one which unites you with God. But there are different methods explained in Bhagavad Gita, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga. People who do Nishkam Karma, they also attain Paramatma. Sannyasis also attain, Karma Yogis also attain. Sannyasis who do not do Karma, though they don't believe in Karma, they also attain Paramatma. A Nishkam Karma Yogi who does Karma, he is also attaining Paramatma. So the destination is same, what we have to attain. The path may differ. You adopt the path which you like the most. If you like the path of karma, then change every karma that you do into akarma. Akarma is the karma which does not put you under bondage. So our style of doing karma, our method of doing karma should be that it does not put us under bondage. I always say it is like walking in the mud without the mud clinging to our body. So what is the way to do it? Put on gumboots, put on the raincoat. And the gumboot and raincoat is our giving up our kartutva abhiman, doership, self-doership. I have done it. Give up that thought. And expectation of result, reward. If you give up these two things, they are the two things which will save you from all sorts of bondage of your karma. And when your karma becomes a karma, then you are attaining the God. Because then there is nothing that can put you under bondage. Then once our life is over, we are on a one-way traffic. we'll never come back here again because there is nothing, no bondage for us. So whatever yoga, whether bhakti yoga or jnana yoga, karma yoga apply, do your own contemplation on it. See where you fit in the most and follow that. As I always say, jnana yoga is for people who are already yogis, who are jnanis from their past lives. We do not have those qualities of jnana yogi. But karma yoga is for all people like us. We understand what is karma yoga now after reading Gita. So all of us can become karma yogi with consistent efforts by giving up our sense of doership and giving up the expectation of result reward. Then we are karma yogi. If we can live life like this, then we are also attaining Paramatma. Then meditation may not be necessary. Thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you.
Lakshmanji,
For you, Guruji Pranam. How can desire and detachment be managed or overcome in this modern world, especially this now the distraction is there, destructive, and also there's lots of emotions. How we can overcome? There is some technique, might be the Buddha is telling to do the meditation. He also mentioned in the meditation, and very nicely you elaborate the meditation to observe the sensation. It is sometimes is very difficult to manage on this because it is overcoming anything. The one Mataji also mentioned in the corporate life, there is a huge problems within the colleague, the job pressures. How we can overcome from these all? Sometimes the desire also is coming. That the attachment also is too much attachment. Detachment is very difficult from your job or the relationship. How we can overcome on this, Guruji?
You see, every aspect of life is different. Job is different, your personal life is different, your material attraction in the life are different. So first of all, try to segregate your personal life, your professional life, and your material life. Material life in the sense, what is attracting, disturbing your mind. Today's maximum disturbance is happening to us because of the media, whether it is social media, whether it is TV or whatever. Find out which subject disturbs you the most. If you find out that the news channels are most disturbing aspect for my disturbance mentally, stop watching that. You can get news from other sources also. News channels, day in and day out, they're disturbing our mind these days by running the same breaking news for 24 hours a day, hammering us with negative news all the time. Give up that. We come to know what is good through different sources. You don't have to watch the TV channels every time. At least first 1 hour in the morning when we wake up, don't open your mobile. When you're going to the bed, put off your mobile or TV at least for 1 hour before you go to the bed. Have the peace of mind when you wake up. Have the peace of mind when you go to the bed. Rest of the day, okay, it may not be under your control. Agreed. During that time, whatever way it happens, you have to conduct yourself in the best possible manner. But at least the beginning of day and the end of day, that should be under your control. Even if we are able to control that, we will attain a lot of peace of mind. Coming to job, in job, everybody has to succeed. Everybody has to excel. But excel at what cost? Today, people are doing work from home. They bring the laptop home, company laptop they bring at home. It starts with working in the living room. Then it goes on the dining table. Then ultimately it lands in the bedroom. So working from home, it is becoming home a 24 hours office, isn't it? And that is causing disturbance. So we should know where to stop. Where to stop. The boss will always expect miracles from you. But while doing those miracles, are you sacrificing something very great in your life? We have to evaluate that first. At what cost? At what cost? Everybody cannot go number one. There are people who go to number one. There are people who do not want to go also. So we have to select our own path, whether we want to physically, materially happy, or we want to spiritually, mentally happy.
Yeah.
Those who attain a lot of wealth, are they all happy? All CEOs in the world, are they really happy? Ambanis are very, very happy people. People like us who are reading Gita are more happy than those rich people, I would say. Isn't it?
True.
So everybody's
Absolutely.
definition of happiness has to be defined by himself. Where I can find the happiness in my life. If I find my happiness by reading Gita every day, at least 1 hour a day, doing contemplation, manan chintan of Gita, that gives me the real happiness, then I don't care about other happiness in life. I don't care if somebody give me promotion or whether I get more money or not. My happiness is my mental peace, and that I will attain come what may. That does not mean that you should totally discard your material life, because everybody needs money. As I said, Sri Krishna Bhagavan also said to Arjuna that you will win this war and you will enjoy the kingdom. So we also want to enjoy the life by earning money, yes, but at what cost? Are we devoting entire our life to only earning money and running mad after getting money? We have to leave a part of that time for our own self-development. And unless that habit is inculcated in us, it may not help us to suddenly wake up at our old age and become jnani at that age suddenly. It has to be slowly brewed in our mind, slowly. That seeding has to be done on a daily basis. You don't have to become sannyasi every day.
Not possible also.
They're not possible. I agree. It's not possible. But seeding has to be done, no? The mind has to be clarified. The mind has to be cleansed every day of bad thoughts, bad habits, bad intentions. So that our mind is clear, our conscience is clear. Whatever I am doing it with clarity of thoughts, with purity of mind. That is the most important thing that we need to do. Then whatever God gives, they have to accept it graciously. That this is what I have done my best. God has given what He has thought right for me. I cannot demand anything from God. God knows what is good for me. He will give you what is good for me. That is the way we should conduct ourselves. Then we'll be at peace of mind, plus we'll enjoy the material life as well. In 8th Adhyaya, there is a shlok, Mama Nuspari Yuddhecha. Bhagavan says, Mama Nuspari Yuddhecha. Remember me and do your kartavya karma also. That is the principal way to follow in life. Keep performing your kartavya karma, your prescribed duty, while remembering God. Ma Manuspara, remember me, and Yuddhecha, Arjuna's duty was to do Yuddha. We don't do Yuddha and all that, but we do our kartavya karma, our prescribed duty. So keep performing your karma. Paramatma doesn't say take my name only and sit idle. He says karma is equally important. Taking my name is also important. So both things are to be balanced. Both things are equally important. And that is what we learn from Gita. Mamanusmri Desha. Do your kartavya karma and remember God. Both things are possible.
Guruji, that I mentioned also the meditation technique. I'm practicing one technique, the Buddha technique. What is the Vipassana? For 10 days the course, I think you are aware of this also. So what I am practicing, if daily at least half an hour doing the meditation with the only observing my reciprocation and the sensation, this one. Is there any other technique that what the Krishna is telling, or in our the sannyasi, because sannyasi is not possible in this position. So is there any other technique which can help us to more calmness and this control our mind?
If you read the 6th Adhyaya, Atma Sanyam Yoga, in that Sri Krishna has given step-by-step procedure how to enter into meditation, how to sit, what place, how to select the place, how to prepare asana for sitting, in what posture you should sit, how to start meditation. When the mind starts wandering, how to handle that wandering mind. Every step has been explained by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita in 6th Adhyaya. The procedure in short is like this. Select a place which is away from the daily crowd, where you can focus, you can concentrate your mind. If possible, sit on the floor with a satin cloth. Try to control your breathing. Watch only your breathing first. Incoming and outgoing, incoming and outgoing. Only breathing control, only watching of breathing. A stage comes when breathing coming and breathing going on, it becomes sama, equanimity. That means you will not know whether you are breathing in or breathing out, exhaling. It becomes that equanimity. That equanimity of your breathing, then you go to the next higher level of equanimity of thoughts. Observe what thoughts are coming into your mind. Coming in, going out. Don't do anything. Don't interfere with the thinking process. Just observe your thoughts. What is coming in and what is going out. Observing your own mind as a witness is another technique of entering into meditation. We have to become an observer, a witness of our own mind. Because as I said, I am not mind, I am not intellect, I am not body. So what I am? I am a witness. And I am witnessing my own thinking process. What thoughts are coming in my mind, where they are going, from where they are coming, I am just observing that. A stage comes when the mind goes thoughtless, at least for a second. That 1 second we have to expand into 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. That is called meditation. So when you come out of your meditation, then your mind is always there in that meditation stage. Whether you are conducting yourself in the material world, but the mind is remembering that peace of mind which you have enjoyed when you were in that meditation. And with that stable mind, then you conduct yourself in the material world. And that is the way to live the life.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, please?
If there are no more questions, we can move towards concluding.
Yeah.
Okay. So, as we come towards the conclusion, I extend heartfelt thanks to our respected speaker, Vikas Vaidya, to the technical assistants, to all the Gita Sevis who work tirelessly, and to each and every sadhak who joined us today with devotion. After prayer, we'll also have Hanuman Chalisa chanting, so I request all to wait till end. Now, for prayer, I would like to invite Sridevi Vaitalaji. In Geeta Pariwar, she serves as a technical assistant, a techno star, and also is with Geeta Pariwar since April 2024. Sridevi ji.
Jai Shri Krishna, Didi. योगेशं सच्चिदानन्दं वासुदेवं व्रजप्रियं धर्मसंस्थापकं वीरं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं. जय श्री कृष्ण.
Thank you so much, Didi. To conclude this divine session, let us all join together in the powerful chanting of Hanuman Chalisa.
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधारि बरन रघुबर बिमल जसु जो दायक फलचारि बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार. जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीसति लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा गानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र ध्वजा विराजय कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजय शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगबंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सिंहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर सहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत ही समभाई सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावै अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावै सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सके कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीना तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र योजन पर भानु लील्यो ताहि मधुर पल जानु प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाहि दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुमरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम तुम रखवारे, होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे, सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना, तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना, आपन तेज समारो आपै, तीनों लोक हाकते कापै, भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवै, महावीर जब नाम सुनावै, नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा, जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा, संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावै, मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावै, सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, जिनके काज सकल तुम साजा, और मनोरथ जो कोई लावै, सोई अमित जीवन फल पावै, चारों जुग प्रताप तुम्हारा, है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा, साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे, अष्ट सिद्धि नो निधि के दाता, असबर दीन जानकी माता, राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा, तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावै, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावै, अंत काल रघुवर पुर जाई, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई, और देवता चित्तन धरई, हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई, संकट कटई मिटई सब पीरा, जो सुमिरई हनुमत बलबीरा, जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई, जो सत बार पाठ कर गोई, छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई, जो यह पढ़ हनुमान चालीसा, होय सिद्धि साखी गौरी सा, तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा, पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप, राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुर भूप, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय,